Welcome to another episode of The Raw Truth. As always, I'm your host, BX Bad Boy. I want to go for round 2 of cancer culture and a few more of the things that are contributing to that whole theory, because it's just a theory, it's not a fact. Stay tuned. Like I was saying about this stupid-ass cancer culture. Listen, most of these corporations that change things or cancel things, they're choosing that on their own. It's not them being forced to. Like this whole Dr. Seuss shit. Dr. Seuss Corporation went through their books and came to the realization that you could take that as racist or stereotypical because it said the Chinaman, and it showed a stereotypical Chinaman. Why would you keep that around? See, they got no real talking point these days. They go against Democrats or Biden. So they latch onto this culture war, because that's what it really is. We're supposed to change with the times. Not today the same. We learn new things. We understand things differently. Like nobody would have thought that one thing was racist because it was the norm, or sexist because it was the norm. I mean, I remember the clichéic construction workers whistling at pretty girls. But now it's come to light with the equality movement that that's sexist or harassment. And you know what? Yeah, it is. Because I wouldn't care if it was done to me. Whistle all you want. I won't be affected by it personally. But I can acknowledge what it could do to someone who was self-conscious. It doesn't change the facts, though, is my point. I have a bit of thicker skin than most. So I may get whistled at and just keep it moving. I don't really care. But other people, not so much. And they should get the courtesy and respect. Even if I don't care, they're disrespecting me. That doesn't change that that's what they're doing. Just because I don't care they're harassing me, that doesn't mean they're not doing it. Every time society changes, there's one party doesn't like it more than any. Democrats are not exactly progressives, or they would be progressives, not Democrats. But they do understand you got to move forward. You got to change. You got to learn. Now, Democrats may not be the best, but they do understand that. And for the most part, I have to agree they're one of the weakest. Like they rather back down from a fight than go in heads first. Nowadays, though, there's a few Democrats that don't see it that way, like AOC, for instance. You can't say nothing bad about AOC without AOC going, you know what? I got something for you. Whether she's right or wrong with what she says next, she's not going to cower or back down and avoid the fight. She's going to give it to you. Which is funny why the Republican Party, certain members want to fight her or cause a fight with her, knowing she won't back down. But see, she's a strength of the movement of progression. She may not be a progressive. I'm not sure what she represents in the party sense. But in my eyes, she represents moving forward and progressive or progression. And they know this. So they have to try to attack her, to try to knock her down or make her quit, so the progression can stop. Yeah, she's not the one. But everybody gets all bent out of shape over this cancer culture crap. PC is out of control. I'm not going to sit here and argue about PC being okay. Politically correct has made our society so uptight, we could probably get a diamond out of a piece of coal. Now, I understand the uptightness, and I understand I understand the concern, but I'm sorry, bullying is inevitable. And I'm not saying that makes it okay, but it's inevitable. You're not going to be able to get rid of it. You're not going to stomp it out. You're not going to control it. All you're going to do is what's been going on. Every one of the people that have now started showing true racism, true vindictiveness, just out in the open, they might as well be naked. Those were the people that you were trying to stop from being a bully. So what did they do? They were essentially oppressed by decency. That sounds funny, isn't it? But on their care, in their world, our decency is oppression, because it stops their freedom, because they believe they should be able to say anything and everything they want, including racial terms, sexist terms, you name it. They should be allowed to do it. But you aren't allowed to attack them, though. So they're attackers, not fighters. See, that's the difference. And those people, our majority of them, are Republican. I don't care what anyone wants to say. I don't see Democrat or independent or liberal standing up talking about, I want to say homophobic stuff, I want to say sexist stuff, I want to say racist stuff, and you got to let me. No, that's the Republicans. Not all of them, but the ones that are doing it are Republican. They follow Donald Trump because he is the king of the racist, bigoted, sexist pigs. Listen, if in the day I thought it was okay to palm a girl's cooch, in those days, because that's the way it was accepted or it wasn't fought. Once it became to light that, no dude, that's not how this works, I wouldn't try to justify my actions. I would say, shit, okay, sorry to those who I did this, whatever that is to. I now know not to do it to anyone else, and I'm sorry it was done to you. I should have known what we know now, or what I know now, and move on, and hope I'm forgiven. But Donald Trump and people like him, they don't want forgiveness. They want you to shut up and let them go on with business as usual. That's not how this works. But that's how they want it to work. Not one Republican in the House or the Senate voted for us to get the stimulus package we need to keep us alive, to keep our economy going. No. They all were against it and they didn't vote. Not one of them. Those are the people who actually want to cancel culture. They don't want culture. They want their control over our culture. Plain and simple. And our culture is like, fuck you. You take your control and shove it up your ass. They don't like that. It upsets them. They cry in a corner. Here's the thing. Everybody keeps talking all this shit about cancel culture. Listen carefully. They're trying to cancel our self-respect. They want us to be minion not civilians or citizens in a civilization. They want us as minion. Let me put it in another term. If I knew something was hurting and or killing those I deem shouldn't be in here, we'll say my room, I knew if I were to make a particular sound or let out a particular smell, or you get the point, and it was getting rid of those I didn't want in my world or in my room. Now, unfortunately, and I mean, I can't even say unfortunately, because in the scenario I'm bringing up, I want them dead, or I want them gone and out of my hair, and let me do whatever I want in my room. In the theory, that's not what I want, but in this theory. So, I know this thing is killing them, and I want them dead and out of my room. Whichever comes first. I would do everything in my power to allow it to kill them, harm them, get rid of them. I wouldn't do anything to interfere with that, because that is in line with my business model, so to speak. I want them out of my room. They won't leave, because they say this is their room too. So what do? Now, I could be evil and create something that harms them, or wait till something harms them comes along and let it harm them. Do nothing to stop it. My whole point is, why the hell did they open up Texas and Alabama and other states that aren't even getting high vaccination rates? They wanted to do damage. They want to feel they're trying to get two birds with one stone. For all the people, Republicans mostly, that don't want to wear a mask and don't want to be forced to, and want to party and want to miss their friends, and businesses that want to reopen. You want all these people to vote for you, keep you in office. What should you do? Oh, that's right. Give them what they want and take away the restrictions so they're free to go. Sounds about right to me. So they release, or they get rid of the restrictions in each state. And when it comes time to be voted for, guess what happens? All those people are now going to vote for that governor, that mayor, that senator. And on the other spectrum, Trump sees them as one of his. That's one of mine. I'm going to look out for that one. They're trying to keep that state from turning blue. Essentially. But the whole thing is, they don't care who it takes out in the process of keeping the powers that be being where they are. And you gotta understand, but not accept, that for you to stay in power, you have to do things to take that power, because you're not going to just get it. It's not just going to be given to you. You have to do something to get that power and keep that power. And essentially, if someone is interfering with that power, you got to take care of them. So this is cancer culture. It doesn't really exist. What it is we say something like racism is bad. So then companies and businesses look at their business model and they see something racist in their business and they change it. Only those who get directly picketed, essentially, or threatened to be boycotted or attacked. And I don't recall many people being attacked. I recall the idea being attacked of racism being okay. Like when the Black Lives Movement first started getting real massive ground. That's when all these companies and corporations and baseball, football teams, whatever, started looking at themselves. Because they didn't realize that racism was this bad. I don't know why. But no one told, as a matter of fact, I don't recall anyone that should really be offended by it telling the Washington Redskins to change their name. Now I know they were picketed or protested, but not by the people that's supposed to be offended by the name. If I remember correctly, I mean, it's been a while, it was even brought up in the news that the people that are supposed to be offended by it don't care. It's only a name. And the ones that are being offended by it are the woke people. If you were so fucking woke, you would ask the people, does this offend you? Do you need our help to change things? I don't think the Native Americans give two fucking shits at all whether or not that team is called Redskin or not, in comparison to the struggles they have to go through in the United States, even on their own reservations. I don't think for 2 fucking seconds they go, oh my goodness, I can't eat, but you know what, fuck it, get rid of Redskins. Racism, more important than food. I don't think so. Not for 1 goddamn second do I think so. So the people that are so woke, if you were woke and you so concerned about racism, sexism, or whatever, you want to defend the world, how about you ask the fucking world, do they give a fuck? First. I don't mind somebody wanting to fight on my behalf, but how about you ask me if I give a shit? You're gonna step on my fucking name to fight for something for me that I don't think is worth fighting for, because it isn't a big deal. It's only a word. Then you fighting for me now puts me in a precarious position that, yeah, I don't care. But the people around me, or the other Americans that aren't Native, will come after me. Come after my people. Come after my tribe. Because they think we're the ones bitching, when we're not. So then they start attacking us, telling us we're the one destroying, and we're cancel culture and blah, 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 horseshit and buckfuck. But we're not. These fake woke motherfuckers is. I can't even use woke. Still gotta call them sleepy, because they're not asleep and they're not awoke. Because if they were woke, to be awake means you see everything. Because when I wake up, I see everything. You know, whatever's in front of me. And I even see somewhat in hindsight and somewhat in future thought. I'm not sure what that term is called, but we'll call it future thought. I see both. But these woke fuckers only see one thing: controversy. Let's attack them. Near. We all just need to sit down and ask those who may be offended by something that applies to them, are they offended? Do they care? And if they don't care, and it doesn't offend them, and they don't feel persecuted or betrayed or injustified, or whatever you want to call that shit, then we move on to someone who needs the help. That's like giving a millionaire money. They have millions of dollars. They don't need the help. Somebody who has nothing, they need the help. So that's who you give the money to. That's why there's a limit on, now I don't agree on this particular limit, but we're not going to argue there. But that's why there's a limit on who gets the $1,400 from this last stimulus package that they just passed. Because why should millionaires be getting help that they don't need? This is not about giving away free money from the government. It's about giving money to people that need it. Like my house needs it. We have $684 left in the bank. There's one check come in, the rent and the bills come out to $2,500. We have $1,870. And after this month, we're up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. So this house needs that help. We're fighting to get the money back. The workman's compensation I discussed about 20 episodes back. Still fighting. Been fighting since October. So families like mine need it. Families worse than mine need it. I have a son. His mother and stepfather have a job where they're working. She works from home. He goes out on the road. They may not make shitload of money, but they make enough to pay the bills. But they still are struggling. So they need the help. My son needs the help. We're all struggling. We all have our opinions on what is right and wrong. But you can't have an opinion for me. Cancer culture, under those terms, isn't cancer culture. It's drama queens and dramas that people just want to get into drama. If I remember correctly from the news anyway, the whole Redskin thing was done by a majority of white Americans fighting for the Redskin label to go away and the mascot to go away. You can't be offended on the behalf of someone if you didn't ask them, do they give a shit? I'm Irish. Shh, don't tell no one. And there's an old Irish thing about potatoes. This woman about 20 years ago threw potatoes at me, and I think she threw a tomato too. And these are all racist things because she knew I was Irish or believed I was Irish. I don't know. I didn't even know the woman. She was an old batsy bitch. Anyway, I made a joke of it. I'm like, I hope she throws a steak sooner or later. We'll have mashed potatoes and steak. She didn't hit me. She didn't destroy anything of mine. She actually messed up the hallway. Not a problem of mine. Whoever has to clean that hallway should have a problem with it, and they should take it up with her. I could care less. It has no direct effect on me. But I made a joke of it because it's funny. And why it's funny is because she's a batty old chick that didn't know what she was doing, I'm certain, and she's living in a time zone or in a time period that we're not in anymore. It happens when you get old. It's almost, like I said, it's almost funny. Like, even my brothers that are of different races, they're like, yeah, if she threw a steak, we can make some steak. Now, she never did, to my chagrin. Is that the word I'm looking for? Chagrin? We weren't happy she didn't throw a steak, damn it. Could I have walked up to her and started banging her door? What the fuck are you doing? And losing my shit. For what? Would it change her mind? Would it stop her? No. So what do I do next? Take her to court and get her locked up? For what? Put that old lady in jail so she can fucking learn a lesson? That's not how this works. Those who believe something, and I'm not talking about those douchebags that are sycophants for Donald Trump. People that truly believe that somebody else is lesser than them. And not just because they were taught it, but they feel it for whatever reason. Because I know a lot of people have been beaten down by a race and turned against reality and common sense and hated an entire race for what was done to them. You know, I've seen lots of jokes for Jewish stuff from Jewish people, even about, you know, Germans and so on. But I've never heard any one of them that I've ever met, and I'm part Jewish, so guess what? DNA test, fuckheads. But I never met any Jewish person that, like, lived in the past. What happened was horrific. But those who did those things aren't here anymore. And the descendants of those people, as long as they don't follow suit as their ancestors, most Jewish people don't care. I've never seen, and I just say this, never seen a Jewish person afraid to go near someone who's German. Or go, ew, it's German. Actually, I've known a few that married German people, you know, German women and German men, because it wasn't their doing. People can say a lot about Jewish people, but I can't say for certain they hold a grudge. How many ancestors must we go through before you stop hating a race for something that was done? How many generations does it take? How many years does it take for you to stop hating someone or their people, so to speak, for something that was done to you? When do you give yourself peace? Because at the end of the day, only you, stop forest fires, only you can give yourself peace. I was jumped by multiple races, multiple times because of my race. And I don't blame the race that jumped me. I blame the douchebags that jumped me. They may have attacked me because of my race, but it wasn't because of their race and ancestors that they attacked me, if that makes any sense. It wasn't because they were Puerto Rican or black or Chinese or Japanese. It was because they were pieces of shit. Plain and simple. So I don't blame the entire civilization for what was done. If I were to, let's throw race out of that. Now, I was jumped by 7 men, or boys, because really they weren't men. 7 boys, and I'm not even talking because of their age, because they're douchebags. So are all men, should I classify all men as abusive pieces of shit? And for those of you who say yes, I got that for you, because I'm not one of them. But you would be classifying me with them, so fuck you. So if I can't blame all men for getting jumped, like I can't blame all women for the slices in my back or the hole in my ribs, why can I blame an entire race? It just seems like pure ignorance. Like I said, there's no such thing as cancer culture. Because you know what? The Redskins do not have to change their name. Dr. Seuss Corporation does not have to stop publishing those books. And for the record, Dr. Seuss is still there. They're just not printing any more of those 6 books. So get over it. They got thousands of books. Just those 6, they're not printing because they have races and other not so nice stuff. When you realize what it is, or insensitive stuff in it, so they're just doing the right thing. If you're gonna hate them on that, well, stop reading Dr. Seuss and go fuck off. We can tell somebody we don't like something, but it's up to that person to change it. We can't make them change it unless they're violating some law. So when they make a law against Dr. Seuss books, then you can say we canceled something. Well, it's 4:35 in the morning. On that note, peace.